Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that takes maybe subjects that sound a little academic, and we really dig into their real-world impact. Today, our goal is to unpack a whole stack of sources covering something that's actually crucial: the social responsibility of business. We want to give you a shortcut, really, a way to get genuinely informed on something that, well, it touches all of our lives. We're diving deep into this idea of the social responsibility of business. And, it sounds maybe a bit textbooky, but trust me, it has a massive impact on the products we buy, yeah, but also the places we live, even like the future of the whole global economy. It's about how businesses do business, not just for profit, but thinking about people and the planet, too.
And the sources we're drawing on today are pretty broad. They cover the history, like where did these ideas even start, all the way up to how companies are actually doing this stuff now, implementing strategies. And there's a global angle too, which is fascinating. It shows this trend, Businesses are realizing their role is bigger than just making money.
Yeah, exactly. And stick with us, because by the end of this, you'll have some, I think, surprising takeaways about your own power as a consumer. Plus, some really concrete examples of how companies are putting this responsibility thing into action. We'll connect it all back to, your daily life.
Okay, so let's start unpacking this. Where did this idea of consumer power even come from?
It feels normal now, but it wasn't always like this, right? Consumers didn't always have much of a voice. The whole movement really kicked off because, well, frankly, some businesses were doing some pretty unethical things.
That's right. I mean, think about it. False claims about products, this miracle cure that does nothing, or charging way too much for essentials.
Right. Or even products that were dangerous.
Yeah.
Unsafe to make, unsafe to use.
Exactly. And facing all that, ordinary people started realizing they needed to band together to demand better. That's the spark, really.
And that became the consumer movement.
Precisely. You can define the consumer movement as basically an organized effort. Social action aimed at protecting consumers. And what fueled it? Well, partly just people becoming more aware of their rights, their power in numbers. And fast forward to now, the internet. Huge factor. It lets you compare everything, prices, services globally. That gives consumers massive leverage.
It really does.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just bottom-up pressure, was it? It got formal recognition. I mean, the UN General Assembly endorsing 8 specific consumer rights back in '85, that's a pretty big deal.
It's massive. It puts an international stamp on it, says these aren't just requests, they're fundamental rights.
Okay, so you have these globally recognized rights. How does that play out on the ground?
Yeah.
In different countries?
Well, that's where it gets interesting, seeing how different cultures and histories shape the implementation. Our sources use Saudi Arabia as a really good case study here. If you look back historically, in early Islamic society, they had something called the Hizbah office. Yeah, Hizbah. Its job was specifically market oversight, making sure scales were right, weights were accurate, general fair dealing. And this wasn't just administrative, it was tied to the religious idea that cheating in business is actually a sin.
Wow, okay. So deep roots.
Very deep roots. And today, Saudi Arabia is consciously working to align its modern laws with those UN guidelines we mentioned. They've even set up the Saudi Consumer Protection Association.
Yeah.
It helps empower consumers, works with government bodies, and handles complaints.
What kind of complaints?
Everything from fraud, cheating, counterfeit goods, price gouging, misleading ads, the whole range.
So connecting that historical ethic with modern regulation, that's powerful. And these rights translate into real protections for people day to day. Let's look at a few key ones. First, fraud. This is basic stuff, right? Deceiving someone to get money, causing them a loss, like selling a phone you know is broken.
Exactly. And Saudi Arabia has taken steps, like a new anti-financial fraud and deceit law. Plus, you see constant warnings about online scams, be careful where you buy from, stick to trusted sites.
Makes sense. Okay, what about when you buy something expensive, like an appliance or a car? We look for the warranty, right? That promise it'll actually work.
Absolutely. And it's not just a suggestion. In Saudi Arabia, the Ministry of Commerce mandates a minimum 2-year warranty.
2 years minimum. For what kind of things?
For electrical appliances, vehicles, electronics, key purchases. And it's not just local. Think about Apple. Their global policy is generally 2 years for free repair or replacement if a product is faulty from the start.
So that's real protection, backed by both regulation and big companies.
Definitely shifts the power dynamic.
Okay, third area, privacy. Our data. This feels incredibly relevant now.
Hugely relevant. And Saudi Arabia is also focused here on individual privacy. They have the Saudi National Data Management Office overseeing regulations.
And what do those regulations say? What are my rights?
So fundamentally, you have the right to know why your data is being collected, what the legal basis is. You need to be told how it's going to be processed. You have the right to see it, check it, correct it if it's wrong. And crucially, the right to have it destroyed when it's no longer needed for the reason it was collected.
The right to be forgotten, essentially.
Sort of, yes, in that context.
So pulling this together,
Mm-hmm.
what does it all mean for you listening right now? It means these movements, these laws,
Yeah.
they're not just abstract concepts. They're working often behind the scenes to keep you safer when you buy something, to protect your money, and to safeguard your personal information online. They're real, tangible protections. Okay, so we've talked about the consumer side, the rights. Let's flip the coin. Let's talk about the business side, the responsibilities. This brings us to that broader idea of a social responsibility. What does that actually mean?
At its core, it's pretty simple. It's the duty a business has to contribute positively to the well-being of the community it exists in.
Right, not just take, but give back somehow.
Exactly. And that leads us nicely into corporate social responsibility, or CSR. You hear that acronym a lot.
CSR.
Think of CSR as companies making a conscious choice. They decide to weave social and environmental concerns right into how they operate daily and into how they interact with, well, everyone, all their stakeholders.
Stakeholders. That's the key term, isn't it? Who are we talking about?
It's a really broad group. Investors, obviously, employees, customers, definitely, but also government regulators, competitors sometimes, the local communities where the business operates.
Even campaigners, activists?
Yes, social campaigners too. And balancing all their different needs, desires, demands, that's the challenge.
What kind of social issues typically fall under CSR?
Oh, a wide range.
Oh.
Protecting the environment is a big one. Promoting inclusion, like getting more women into the workplace, hiring people with disabilities or older workers, making sure the workplace itself is healthy and safe. Those are all core CSR concerns.
Okay, so it's complex. It's not just writing a charity check. How does a company actually do CSR effectively? Our sources suggest it's quite structured. They mention 4 key stages: plan, execute, audit, and evaluate.
That's right. It needs to be systematic. Let's break that down. First, the plan. This is fundamental. And here, the sources highlight Saudi Arabia again, actually. They're seen as a leader in CSR in the Emirates region, Middle East, and North Africa.
Why is that?
A lot of it is driven by their Saudi Vision 2030 initiative. This is their big national plan to diversify the economy, modernize society, and CSR is baked into those goals for both government bodies and private companies. It's a national push.
They've got government backing.
Strong backing. But for any company, anywhere, this planning stage means you need clear goals, structured programs, things you can actually achieve. Often it's best to phase it in. You need someone clearly in charge, overseeing it, and critically, real commitment from the very top.
Right. It has to come from leadership. Okay,
Yeah.
so you have a plan. Then comes execute, putting it into action.
Exactly. And doing it in phases, like you said, is smart because it lets you review things as you go, see what's working, what needs tweaking. Top managers are crucial here. They need to set the tone, create policy statements that outline what the company cares about, and there need to be clear incentives for people to actually get on board and make it successful.
Okay, the tone from the top, again, makes sense. But how do you check if it's actually working, if it's more than just talk?
That's where the audit comes in, a social audit.
Social audit. What is that?
It's basically a detailed report card. It looks at everything the company is doing on social issues. It helps the company evaluate its own CSR programs, see where they need to improve. It typically covers areas like HR practices, community involvement, product safety, business ethics, environmental impact, the whole picture.
Got it. So plan, execute, audit. And the last one was evaluation.
Right. And this is where you weigh things up because CSR isn't free. There are benefits, absolutely, but there are also costs.
Okay, let's talk benefits first. What does a company gain?
Well, several things. It can lead to more justice or fairness for different groups in society. It definitely enhances the company's image, its reputation. It can improve the quality of life in the community. And it raises awareness, both among employees and consumers, about important social issues.
And the costs. What are the downsides for the business?
Mostly financial, initially. You might need to invest in cleaner, safer equipment, maybe building upgrades for safety. Sponsoring social projects costs money too.
So there's a real investment needed.
There is, but, and this is key, the sources really frame CSR as a worthy investment. Because at the end of the day, building that positive reputation, that's incredibly valuable. It can even give you an edge over competitors.
So it's not just philanthropy, it's strategic thinking too. Saudi businesses see it as investing in their own long-term future, especially now consumers care more about this stuff.
Precisely. It's becoming table stakes, almost.
Okay, this is great context. Can we look at some specific examples? Real-world CSR in action. The sources mention quite a few, particularly linked to Saudi Arabia again.
Yes, absolutely. First up, environmental sustainability. This is huge. It means businesses taking responsibility for preserving resources. So better waste management, more recycling, cutting pollution, and things like using treated water or switching to renewable water sources.
Makes sense. What else?
Providing equal opportunities. This is about creating a level playing field. Jobs for everyone, men, women, young, old. It also includes things like job training, helping people get ready for the workforce, and specifically in the Saudi context, supporting that Vision 2030 goal of getting more women into jobs. That's a major social shift they're aiming for.
Right, connecting business goals with national social goals. What about energy?
Big one. The renewable energy market. Saudi Arabia has massive potential for solar and wind. Businesses are key players in building up that sector. They need to, because energy demand is expected to triple by 2030.
Triple, wow. So renewables aren't just nice to have, they're essential.
Absolutely essential, economically and environmentally.
Okay, another point was about just being responsible in business generally.
Yeah.
What did that entail?
It links back to Vision 2030 again. The idea is that businesses should contribute to society beyond just making profits. A specific example is creating career paths and opportunities for young Saudis, both men and women, linking business success to social development.
And finally, being responsible to society through nonprofits.
Yes, supporting the third sector. Organizations like the Red Crescent, which provide vital services. Saudi Arabia is actively trying to grow its nonprofit sector, more foundations, better regulations, encouraging donations and endowments. They're even pushing corporations to set up their own nonprofits.
And volunteering.
Big push there, too. Vision 2030 has a target of 1 million volunteers a year. And private companies are encouraged to help make that happen, like giving employees time off to volunteer.
That's quite a comprehensive picture.
It is. And we even have some stats on what the main CSR activities are in Saudi Arabia, according to the Globalcom PR network. Top of the list. Creating jobs for the unemployed that accounts for about 49% of activities.
Almost half. Okay.
Then supporting entrepreneurship, helping new businesses get started, that's 47%. And interestingly, establishing anti-smoking campaigns is number 3 at 46%.
Anti-smoking, that's specific.
It is. Shows the range, doesn't it? From jobs to health initiatives.
Yeah.
These are real, tangible actions shaping society.
It really does. Wow. What a journey we've taken. From those first cries for consumer rights, seeing them get global backing, and then understanding how businesses are building responsibility into their actual operations, it's clear these aren't just fuzzy ideas. Knowing about consumer power and corporate responsibility really does help you understand the world we live in. It makes you a smarter consumer, a more informed citizen, really.
It absolutely does. And maybe it leaves us with a final thought, something for you, the listener, to chew on. We've talked a lot about responsibility, consumer power, corporate action. So this raises an important question. In this super connected world we're in, how might your choices today, maybe the products you choose to buy or avoid, or how you advocate for change in your own workplace, how might those choices actually shape this whole social responsibility landscape tomorrow?